Zakotech.
Hi, today I'm coming to you as a concerned parent. Today I'm going to be talking to you about critical race theory. But first, before I get into that, I'm going to go into the reasons why I'm going to be talking about this. I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old boys. I try to teach them how not to be bullies and how to try to talk things out before they escalate to something that they may not be able to come back from, such as fighting and whatnot and arguing. I also teach them about consequences, both good and bad. I tell them they can do anything they want to. They don't have to listen to me, their mom, anybody. But the one thing I have that they must know is what the consequences are. They need to understand that if they don't listen to me, they don't listen to their mother, they don't listen to some other teacher or police officer or something like that, to know what may possibly happen. I want them to do this because I want them to be able not just to do what other people tell them to do, but also to think critically. I'm constantly trying to reinforce that. I'm constantly trying to enforce the positive demeanor to get out all of the negative. I'm not able to, instead of using that, I currently struggle with positive affirmations to build yourself up. I also discipline my boys, and I try to explain why, as determined on the situation of what had happened. It might be I have to sit there and talk with them, or if it's something more serious, it might have to be some other method of punishment. Now, it is not the government's responsibility to discipline our children. It is the parents. We have to make sure our boys and girls do the right thing. Hence, we're living in a society that we have to try to get along. Things aren't always going to be perfect. I tell them they're not always going to get what they want, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't still try to get what they want. And try to do that in a respectful, polite manner. I'm not saying for them to sit down on their hands and just to give up, but also I'm not saying to do something that's unethical and unmoral. I'm saying to work hard and outcompete the other, outthink the other person. Now, I try to take every opportunity to build my boys up, to show them that even if they did something wrong or whatever, and even when I'm frustrated, I try to make it a point to try to better myself. At the same time, I'm trying to better them. And I try to tell them, calm down, because I don't want to get upset, because I have a lot of feeling and a lot of passion, and I want to try to better myself, and I don't want to yell and scream and get upset. So I try to keep them at a calm, because when you go at somebody yelling, they're going to be defensive, and they're going to yell back, and they're not going to hear what you have to say. So if I could teach them this critical skill to instill in them, so that way they can get a little more of the potential they have, and they can communicate better with others, so that way there could be a better outcome. Now, also I take time to teach them other things such as STEM type projects, sugar rockets, fixing a car, try to look at electronics. I try to show them and try to make it fun. Now, I'm not always coming through. To me, when I go over some technical things, it's interesting to me, but of course to a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, it's not always the case. Now, a 6-year-old, he can sit down there and look at and wants to kind of get his hands dirty with the car and such other mechanical things. My 8-year-old, not so much. He has other things he likes to do. So I have to kind of say, hey, let's look at it, let me just show you. And so I can't really get as involved and as in detail all the time. But I try to do my best to at least show him and to expose him to these type of things. Now, me and my wife both work 50 hours a week. We also have businesses that we're trying to build up and to grow. In addition to that, we're trying to instill them with all the above core ethical and moral principles for our boys. Now, I try to instill my boys with hope. I try to build them up, as I said before, as my parents had done before me. And I do this for more than one reason. Because if my parents hadn't said that I could do anything that I put my mind to, that I tried for, there was a time in my youth that might have had a different outcome if I didn't have that hopefulness and that passion and drive and that core belief that things could always get better. And it's now, as I'm writing this, I realize that children are disproportionately affected by emotion and feelings. Everything that they see and feel is exponentially more passionate. I mean, I remember certain things as just so wow the first time you see them, and I only get glimpses of that when I'm starting to do some technical thing that I hadn't ever done before, that I get that wow moment. But it seems like kids are not drowned out by the drudge and grudgery and whatnot of the typical daily grind. And they're able to just be in that. But that comes with also consequences, which being they feel everything great and good, but also they feel everything that's bad really bad. And even things that they are not directly or really have nothing to do with them, they can make it about themselves. They can make it that it's all their fault for whatever issue, some home issue, some other person saying things, and they could just make it about themselves. And it's because of that that we need to be extra vigilant on how our children are being taught. They find a way to connect to whatever that good or bad thing and make it more bad than it really is. And if they don't have the core beliefs and the hopefulness that's given to them by their parents, it could push them over onto a path that they might not be able to come back from. Now, I know that Governor Lee has passed a law saying that you cannot have any more critical race theory. You can't do this, and teachers hopefully won't. But just because you live in a neighborhood that's really safe and you don't have to worry about things, does that mean you get rid of all your door locks and get rid of everything? And saying, oh, there's a law passed for that, I don't have anything to worry about? No. We don't need to get complacent in our actions. We have to make sure that we realize that this is the time, because of all of this critical race theory is why we need to keep it in check and make sure it doesn't happen in our classrooms. Because the last thing that we need, in addition to bullying, school homework, relationships, home issues, is to allow some adult which they may look up to and trust, someone that they admire and they feel safe with, telling them that the achievements that they have made are not their own. Tell them some nonsense that they are less or should think less of the achievements they may have gotten because of some theory that, even if they might have some reasoning behind it, shouldn't even be taught to a group of fragile and open-minded treasures such as our children, especially at this age. This, in my opinion, and it is an opinion, shouldn't be taught until college or maybe some high school level. And for the reasons that I stated about earlier, about being extremely fragile in the point of thinking that everything somebody says, because they might take that and think that they're responsible. And then that's one more piece of weight on their shoulders to think that, why are we doing this? Another thing that they have to think bad about themselves when they shouldn't think like that. They should be looking to have fun and being with their friends and having just good days. They shouldn't think about all the negative things. They have their whole life to try to overcome these world issues. We need to let them have their childhood, even if it's just for 10 or 15 years, because of how the world's become so interconnected. I believe we need to protect that, because they are the humanity that we strive for. Their hopefulness, or at least the potential for it, is right there for making peace on earth. Now, I'm not just saying this and not having any actions. I have several different ideas. One would be to put cameras in the classroom. I have other ideas which I'll add to this. Like me, other parents do not have the time to look into this to be as informed as they need to be. I do not need to have a fast resolution. All I want is to have a forum to try to think of the way that, okay, we could teach our kids history about slavery and all the nasty stuff that happens. I mean, of course, hopefully we keep it more G-rated and say, hey, we did some bad things, but we learned from it. And then, like we do in science, where we show them about the Jello model of the atom, and then, of course, surprise, oops, sorry, that really wasn't the right thing. But it was just what their minds could probably handle at this age. Because if you throw too much at them, that might take them down a road that we can never come back from. So, like I said in the beginning, thoughts, ideas, and opinions only takes one to change the world. Let's make it for the better.
Thanks for watching. If you don't mind, to also like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you get some more of my instantaneous videos that'll happen in 1 year. Thank you.
All the crazy shit I did tonight, those will be the best memories. I just wanna let it go for the night. That would be the best therapy for me. All the crazy shit I did tonight, those will be the best memories. I just wanna let it go for the night. That would be the best therapy for me. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey.
Zakotech.